last week we've been talking about characters, and we've been talking about how to describe a character in two ways. They're inside or internal, and they're outside or external. So their outside is what we see, their hair, their clothing, how tall they are, their facial expressions, what they like to do, their actions. On the inside, we like to talk about how they feel or how they act towards others. Are they kind? Are they mean? Their thoughts and their words and their feelings are what we learn about the inside. And so when we talk about those kind of things, on the inside, they might be brave, caring, outgoing, kind, hardworking, funny, smart, or shy. And on the outside, they might be tall or short, fast or slow, big or small. They might have brown hair, purple hair, red hair, who knows? But whatever color of hair they have, or eyes, or what they like to do. They like to build, like yesterday, one of our characters like to build. So those are our different types of character traits. So we're going to read a Christmas story where the character traits change. He changes in the middle of the story, or really towards the end of the story. We're going to read The Grinch. And then, while we're reading it, we're going to say, when you describe a character, you think about what he says, what he thinks, and what he does. That helps us learn what the character internal and external traits are. So I'm going to give you this piece of paper, and as we go through reading it, we're going to say some things that he might say or think or do in the story that tells us his internal and external traits.
Can we think of the movie too?
While I'm reading this story, we're also going to think about some character traits that we're going to write on here and here. So we're going to be doing a lot at one time while we read this story. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas. The whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. So one thing we can say that he thinks is he hates Christmas. Or he doesn't like Christmas. But he just doesn't like it. He hates it. That's not really a good word, is it?
No.
It's not a good word.
And it's Jesus' birthday.
All right. So he thinks he hates Christmas. Okay.
I said he hates Christmas.
Okay, so at the beginning, he's got a small heart. You're not writing this. I'm just writing this. And he hates Christmas. Or you can put does not like Christmas. Okay. Keep going. But, whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now, hanging a mistletoe wreath. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here. Then he growled. Ooh, let's put that what he does. He growled. He growled. That's not a very nice thing to do either. With his fingers nervously drumming. I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, he knew. You know, got growled? And he says he's going to stop Christmas. He says, I'm going to stop Christmas. That's what he says. So he's kind of mean, isn't he? Yeah, and he's kind of angry. So he says he's going to stop Christmas. He thinks that he hates Christmas, and he growled. All right. All the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd rush for their toys, and then, oh, the noise, the noise, the noise, noise, noise. That's one thing he hated. The noise, noise, noise. Then the Who's, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, feast, feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beef, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. He doesn't like roast beef. Okay? He thinks roast beef is gross. That's what he thinks. Roast beef is gross. And he does not like the noise.
Hey, it has O-A in roast.
Yes, it does. That's one of our spelling words.
It has W.
So his roast beef is gross, he thinks that. And he does not like noise. And then they do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They stand hand in hand, and the Who's would start singing. They'd sing and they'd sing, and they'd sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why? For 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how? So he also does not like singing. He does not like singing.
I don't have one face.
Does not like singing. Oh, then he got an idea. An awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. There's him with his idea. Oh. I know some people are still writing. I know just what to do, the Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he chuckled and clucked, what a great Grinchy trick. With his cat and his hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No, the Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max. Here's Max. Then he took some red thread, and he tied a bighorn on the top of his head. So I would say that the Grinch is probably tricky. What do you think? He's tricky. So one thing he does is he dresses like Santa. He dresses like Santa. He's going to trick everyone. He dresses like Santa. We're talking about this right now. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said, "Get up!" And the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. So let's see what he looks like. There he is. Got those red eyes. All their windows were dark. Quiet snow filled the air. All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care when he came to the first little house on the square. This is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist.